Hello, good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you're listening to this, and welcome to the latest in our Jack session videos. This is this week's session with Chris, myself, and this gentleman here, Sam. Or that gentleman here, I think you look at it. I think he's that way on the film. Anyway, there's Sam. Sam, how are you, my friend?
Regards. I'm well. I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I think I'm all right. Perfectly adequate is a good way of. Is a good way of.
Wonderful phrase.
I'm not going to lie, and those of you that come to Jack on a regular basis will know what we mean when we say this. Right now, I'm feeling a little bit last lesson of the day on a Friday. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me some adjectives, Sam, that you might apply if we were writing a piece of creative writing? We might be asked to put some keywords in there. Keywords. What kind of adjectives could you use that would to help people understand what we mean by feeling a little bit last lesson of the day?
Lethargic.
Lethargic was my first one. Yes.
Melancholic.
Oh, okay, I like it.
And yet euphoric.
Oh, euphoric at the prospect of what is to come.
Yes. Last lesson of the day on a Friday, really, you're spending most of the time, especially if, like us, you have third lunch. Last lesson on a Friday seems like a bit of a waste of space, really, doesn't it? Because it's Friday, you know you've only got sort of 50 minutes before the end of the day and the weekend. And it's very hard, I imagine, to motivate your brain and heart to do anything at that time on a Friday, post-lunch.
Yeah.
And we are recording this post-lunch on a Thursday. But because school doesn't happen, this is now Friday for me.
Yeah.
So this is last lesson on a Friday for me in so many ways.
Yep. So what you've perfectly described, Sam, is the feeling of discombobulation, which is another good word, that many of us feel at the moment, particularly because in the lockdown thing, kind of one day just kind of merges into the next, doesn't it? Yep. And I guess most of you watching or listening to this have like work to do and schoolwork that's set you each day, and you've kind of got into a bit of a routine of you're probably following your regular school timetable, and but that might have gone out the window a little bit. If you've done your English work for this week, then you don't have to go to any more English lessons. So it's kind of, I find myself going, what day is it? What time is it? You know, all the time at the moment. Very weird. It's a very unusual time.
It's a very, very unusual time. And we keep saying it's an unusual time, and that doesn't make it any more usual.
No. But I think it's okay I think it's okay for us not to be okay with this time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely okay.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and watching this and feeling like, oh, it's really, really weird, everything's really weird, then you're not alone. Because lots of people feel the same. In fact, most people feel the same. You might be enjoying bits of lockdown. There's definitely bits of lockdown that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't stop it feeling weird, does it?
It definitely doesn't stop it feeling weird. But also, I think it's important to think about, to try and turn your thinking to what it is you actually miss. Because it's really easy, isn't it, to just be like, oh, it's weird. And I often find myself saying that when I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's just so weird, it's strange, it's unusual, it's odd, it's different, it's unique, You can get a thesaurus out and list them off if you're that way inclined. But what do we actually mean? Like, why is it weird?
Yeah.
Are you finding it particularly weird because of the lack of structure in your day? Then that's a really important life lesson to learn for you going throughout the rest of your life, because one day you won't be at school anymore anyway.
Yeah.
And you'll have to learn how to put some structure in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's weird for you because, I don't know, you're missing your friends. Well, that's great. That shows how important those particular people are to you, but also how maybe social you are as a person and how helpful it is for you to have people around. There are lots of different things that we need in our lives that we're not getting right now because circumstances have changed. But it's really easy for me to just think, well, it's just all weird and unusual. But actually, I kind of wish I understood it a bit better about what was the actual specific things that I missed. Because then I feel like when things go back to normal, I'll know what to, focus on.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you were just saying that, it kind of made me remember some of the things we were talking about in last week's session, where we introduced or reintroduced, for those of you that are kind of familiar with us, you'll have heard us talk about these quite a lot. The whole idea of emotional needs, like different things that we need to feel at different times in order to feel good about ourselves. And this time, this kind of lockdown quarantine time, and as those kind of rules are relaxed a little bit, it's a really good time for us to build on our kind of self-awareness and our kind of skills of being aware of ourselves and how we think, rather than just getting used to going, oh, nothing is the same and I feel like I'm floating around in space. Actually, to do exactly what Sam just said, it's like, well, why am I feeling the way I feel? Why, what is it about this period of time that's causing me to feel this? And to dig a little bit deeper on that. And one of the things last week that we pledged to do, and we're going to be doing from today, is looking at some of those specific emotional needs for you guys to help us think through which of these are really, really important for you. And we're going to be doing that a different way. We're going to be looking at one specific need in this session today. And then for some of the others, different ones of us are going to be posting some shorter videos looking at each of them. V's going to be involved in that as well, which is great. So the one we're going to look at in this session, Sam, is the emotional need of security, of feeling secure. And on the little, the kind of handout thing that we give out around this, security is defined as being free from fear or threat of being hurt, of feeling or being safe.
So like having a big dog.
Yes, the big dog of security. A security dog. Is that a thing?
Security.
There are security dogs. Yeah.
Security dogs are definitely a thing.
Security.
Really, you don't get many other security-based animals, do you? You get security dogs. You don't get like security ponies or stuff, do you?
Security,
like
the security condor.
These are my security geese. That sort of thing,
Yeah, although like, geese would be pretty good at security.
Particularly this time of year.
Particularly this time of year. If you're in the lower early area, you might have wandered around Maidenhead Lake at some point. And the geese at the moment are mental. They are off the scale because they're defending their little chicks and stuff. Crazy.
I saw a goose having a fight with a swan the other day.
Yeah, mate. Love that. Anyway, security. So security is something that we talk about quite a lot. And generally, if we have like a high need to feel secure, a lot of the time, I think that's dependent on circumstances around us, isn't it? Like our circumstances make us feel secure. For you guys listening to this, you might know that there are, or be able to recognize certain places in your life where you feel more secure than others. For some of you, we know because we talked to you about that, school is not a place where you feel particularly secure. Maybe because there's quite a lot of things going on. There's the dynamics with friends. There's all the work you've got to do. There's the pressure and teachers and everything else. And for some of you, that's quite hard, which makes you feel a little bit insecure. It feels like the ground is shifting all the time. Others of you feel totally at home at school and can kind of cope with that. Somebody I was talking to the other day said being at home for them is a place where they feel really secure. So actually, even though lockdown is weird, they were saying that actually I quite like being in my house. My room feels a safe place to be. My family are quite supportive. I get on all right with my brother and my sister. So actually home makes me feel quite secure. So that's maybe worth something to think about. Where would you say, Sam, that you felt secure? Do you have the need to feel secure? You're a fairly kind of wherever I lay my hat kind of guy, aren't you? Like, that's what you strike me as.
The problem with that is, Chris, is when is the last time you remember seeing me wear a hat?
Yeah, that's true. No.
So I'm sure I would feel secure if I knew where my hat was. It's making me remember all my missing hats now. It's not. I think it can be the other way up for people as well, can't it? Like sometimes maybe home is where you don't feel secure. Home is somewhere where you actually like feel the least secure of anywhere. Maybe normally you do everything you can to be outside of the house, and now you're kind of trapped, which must be really difficult. For me, where do I feel secure? I think security for me has a lot to do with who's in my life. So I think there are certain people who I feel very secure with, and I'm not so bothered about the place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I don't mind change so much.
Yeah.
So I quite happily go to a different place, and I can feel secure in a new building quite easily. But it's mostly just about the humans that I'm around, and being around somebody I know versus being around somebody I don't know. How secure I feel can change quite dramatically.
Yeah. So if you're listen to this and you think, actually, feeling secure is quite an important thing for me, it's worth thinking about being thankful for those places where you do, or those people that you're around who make you feel secure, and being grateful for those, and recognizing that this is where you can probably feel most relaxed, most likely to be yourself. But also kind of recognizing the people and the places where you maybe feel less secure is a good exercise in self-awareness, because then you can kind of prepare yourself for when you go to those places or be around those people who maybe make you feel less secure, because you can kind of almost stock up on a bit of security before you go in. So you're not expecting that place or those people to make you feel all secure and safe. And that's a good thing as well. That's a good exercise in self-awareness, recognizing that there's certain places that we all go to, or certain people that we're going to be around, where we're not going to feel especially safe. And that's just a good self-awareness exercise, isn't it?
Well, I think it's about it's self-awareness, because your self-awareness also helps you understand your value and your identity. And I guess one of the things that we'd say to people is that all of these emotional needs that we're going to go through, all 10 of them, and there are probably others, but the 10 that we focus on, you're going to be more or less in different areas. But everybody has them. Everybody is affected by these to different degrees. So you might be somebody who actually does feel really quite insecure when you go into school. And lots of other people might not. But that doesn't make you less than them.
No.
They might feel that exact same insecurity when they're at parties, or when they're at home, or when they're playing for their sports team. They might feel that exact same insecurity when they're, they are at dance class. Or security might not be such a big area of need for them, so they might not feel it so extremely. They might have one of the other emotional needs and really feel the lack of it when they don't have support or encouragement or something like that. So please, if you're listening to this, if you do feel like you would describe yourself as quite an insecure person, or you can really easily think of locations or people that you feel insecure around, please don't think of yourself as any less than anybody else. We all have these needs. We're all trying to find them somewhere, and that's kind of why we're talking about this, because it's so important where you get your security from. Because I think another thing on this with security is if we feel insecure in certain areas, we can do things that are maybe not the most healthy things to make us feel more secure. Like sometimes we talk to young people that come in to Jack, and they will say how they don't feel very secure in any situation where they are put on the spot, or where they're going to be potentially called upon. So they might potentially kick off in class, or laugh or joke around or be quite loud, so that they're less likely to be called upon, or maybe they're even likely to be kicked out of the class. And it's not because they feel, I want to mess around in this classroom. It might actually be they just are so scared of being called upon, it's easier to mess around and distract everybody. Totally. And that's just one tiny example of the thousands of ways that we could deal with these situations.
And the reason that self-awareness around these emotional needs is so important is that often a lot of the negative behavior that we sometimes exhibit, and that's often highlighted by teachers in school, is a result of us not getting our emotional needs met. So, you know, another, for all of the emotional needs that we'll go on to look at over the next couple of weeks, when we don't get those met, we'll often find ourselves kind of trying to compensate for not getting that met by doing something that's not helpful or doesn't, you know, make people warm to us or help teachers or parents or other friends respond very well, because we're trying to get a need of ours met, but not in a very good way. So maybe, again, thinking about you guys listening to this, if security or any of these different needs that we'll go on to talk about is a big thing for you, thinking about how we can get those met positively is a really good thing. And recognizing, like we said earlier, that there are some places where, and some people who are not going to meet those needs for us. So we have to be prepared for that and make sure we don't like manifest negative behavior in an attempt to try and get those needs met where they're just not going to be. And there's loads of for all the different 10 emotional needs that we're going to look at, trying to get them met in the wrong places or with the wrong people nearly always has negative repercussions, particularly in school. You know, if you're in need of a certain thing in school and a teacher or a classroom environment doesn't provide you with that, we can then often exhibit what teachers might call not very good behavior and get on patrol cord or worse, you know, get appointments or, you know, all those kind of things. It happens all the time. So the key to kind of regulating that, how that need gets sort of met with us and how our behavior is a reflection of that need not being met, a key to understanding that is this whole thing of self-awareness, which is why we're looking at this, as Sam said, which is why we're looking at these things. And we're going to, like I say, over the next couple of weeks, be posting every few days, different shorter in length videos around each of these different emotional needs. So that was security. A few things to think about there.
Security, a few things to think about. Please do get in touch with us. Yeah. If you have questions about any of these, if you'd like some support or advice with any of these, I have a sneaking suspicion that as we go along, we might do some like little going deeper videos about some of these to kind of take the themes that we're talking about a little bit deeper. If you want a little bit more of practical stuff around these different topics, because remember, these are things that we all do need.
Yeah.
It's not just a one. It's not just that, oh, wouldn't it be lovely if I felt more secure?
Yeah.
We all need these things. And maybe you are somebody listening to this who actually has some struggles in this area. And if you do, there is so much that can be done about that. And there's so much that self-awareness will help you. And we want to support you in that.
Yeah. And they're not weaknesses either. They're not weaknesses either. Just because we have a need for something, it's not a weakness or a character flaw. It's just part of who we are, and we're all made differently. So, guys, thanks so much for listening. We hope you've found that helpful. And like Sam said, do get in touch with us. Probably the best way to do it is by the comments section in this video, or post us a message via the YouTube channel. And if you know any other Jack friends that aren't currently subscribed to the Jack Early YouTube channel, make sure you get them to sign up. And we'll be back again very soon with some more thoughts, especially around some of these emotional needs. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate your time as always. See you all again.
Bye.